On August 14, 2005, two fighter pilots intercepted a commercial airliner flying silent and unresponsive over Greece. What they saw through the windows was a scene from a nightmare. 115 passengers, frozen in their seats, oxygen masks on their faces, motionless. But the true horror was in the cockpit. It was empty. The pilots were gone. This was Helios Flight 522, a ghost plane flying perfectly on autopilot with a cabin full of unconscious souls. For hours, the world watched, asking one question: what happened to the crew? But as the fighter jets shadowed the doomed flight, they would witness something even more impossible. Someone was still alive. And the truth of what happened that day is far stranger and more disturbing than the official reports will ever admit. It all began as a routine flight, a sun-drenched Sunday morning in Cyprus. Flight 522 lifted off on schedule, bound for Prague. On board 115 passengers and 6 crew members. For the first 15 minutes, everything was normal. The plane climbed towards its cruising altitude. Then, a series of alarms, muffled and distant, were heard on the radio by ground control. The captain's voice came through, strained, reporting a problem.
We're losing altitude fast. I need those auxiliary controls online now. Confirming pressure drop in Sector 4.
An engineer on the ground tried to help, but the captain's responses grew confused, disjointed, and then nothing. At 9:37 a.m., just 30 minutes into the flight, Helios 522 went silent. Air traffic controllers in Nicosia called again and again, met with a wall of digital silence. But the plane wasn't falling. It wasn't off course. On their screens, the radar blip continued its journey with an eerie, robotic precision, flying perfectly on autopilot. It crossed out of Cypriot airspace and into Greece, a silent 70-ton intruder. Panic began to ripple through the European air defense network. Was this a hijacking? A terrorist threat? There was only one way to find out. The Hellenic Air Force scrambled 2 F-16s. Their mission? Identify the ghost plane and prepare for the worst. As the F-16s drew alongside the Boeing, the pilots relayed their chilling observations. The passenger cabin was a tomb. Everyone was slumped in their seats, seemingly unconscious. The co-pilot was motionless. The captain's seat was empty. For an agonizing 30 minutes, the fighter jets shadowed the ghost plane, helpless. It was a flying coffin, circling Athens on autopilot, its fuel slowly burning away. Then, a flicker of movement. A lone figure appeared in the cockpit. A man, not one of the pilots. He moved slowly, deliberately, as if fighting against an invisible force. He took the captain's seat. Who was he? How was he conscious when everyone else, including the trained pilots, was not? The fighter jet pilots watched, stunned. The mysterious man saw them. He gestured, but his movements were weak. He placed his hands on the controls, desperately trying to steer the massive aircraft, but it was too late. The left engine sputtered and died. The plane banked violently to the left and began to fall from the sky. The lone figure fought a heroic but doomed battle. Moments later, Helios Flight 522 vanished into the hills of Grammatiko. The crash left 2 burning questions. What had incapacitated an entire plane full of people? And who was the mysterious man who fought to save them at the very end? The answer to the first question was found in the black boxes. It wasn't a bomb, it wasn't a hijacking. It was something far more insidious: hypoxia. a gradual starvation of oxygen to the brain. Investigators discovered a single fatal error. A pressurization switch in the cockpit had been left in the manual position after a maintenance check the day before. As the plane climbed, the cabin never pressurized. The air slowly, silently thinned out, incapacitating everyone on board within minutes. This was the synthetic paradox at its most terrifying. A multi-million-dollar aircraft, a marvel of engineering, defeated by a single switch left in the wrong position. A simple human error that went unnoticed until it was too late. And the lone figure, the hero in the cockpit? He was identified as Andreas Prodromou, a 25-year-old flight attendant. He was also a trainee pilot. Investigators believe he remained conscious by using a portable oxygen supply, long after the pilots had succumbed. His final moments were a desperate, futile attempt to avert the inevitable. But this is where the official story ends, and the real mystery begins. When investigators dug into the aircraft's maintenance logs, they found a disturbing pattern. This specific plane had a history of bizarre pressurization problems. In 2003, the crew reported strange lights outside the aircraft just as the cabin alarms went off. In 2001, the first officer saw a strangely shaped plane flying parallel to them, an object air traffic control could not see, right as critical warnings flared. These weren't just glitches. These were documented encounters with unexplained phenomena, linked directly to the very system that failed on that fatal day. Initial reports leaked this information, but strangely, it was almost entirely scrubbed from the final official accident report. This leaves us with the ultimate paradox. Did the crew of Helios 522 ignore the final alarm because they were used to these ghost warnings? Was this a tragic case of simple human error, or was the crew haunted by something else entirely, long before their final flight? The line between machine error and the unexplained is often blurred. What do you believe happened? Let me know the most chilling detail to you in the comments below. And for more stories that explore the synthetic paradox, make sure you subscribe.